Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kevin, and we're discussing my life with Tourette's. Having Tourette's for the roughly about 30 years that I've had Tourette's, I've learned so much from it. From, you know, the fact that it can paralyze you, the fact that it can really affect your daily life, your daily tasks in life, you know everything from, like I said in an episode, the driving, everything from driving to walking, talking on the phone, just little daily tasks. I mean, some people can't even cook, can't even have a job, like there's so much to it on that level. And then not only the fact that it can affect your daily task and your daily life, can also affect your, how would I say it, sociable life. And by sociable life, I mean meeting new people, whether it's meeting a new significant other, trying to make new friends. I mean, that in itself is a big struggle because, excuse me, that in itself is a big struggle because, everybody wants to be accepted, everybody wants to fit in. But when you have something a lot of people don't know about or don't understand, and you're doing your tick, and these people aren't, and maybe it's people that, like I said, have no idea what Tourette's is, they start to question what you're doing. And I mean, it's happened to me probably a handful of times here and there throughout my life. And so it can make you feel really uncomfortable because, and like, don't get me wrong, now I'm more open about it than ever. I'm more willing to talk about it than ever. Because in the past, I would always just brush it off and try to veer my way around it or find a way to not have to talk about it. Whereas now, as everybody knows through my podcast and everything, I'm very open about it. And, I find that's where the sociable skills can kind of have an issue because not everybody's going to want to feel comfortable to open up about it. But I feel at the same time, it's only important for us to open up about it, to feel open about it, to want to discuss it. So it can affect your daily life socially, whether you're, like I said, your sociable life can be affected, or let's say you're going out with friends or a significant other somewhere, and you don't want to have that people staring at you or people saying remarks or comments under their breath. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. Whether we like it or not, it will happen. And, another thing it could affect is I've learned it can affect like a job. Like for me, I had to step out of work for like 3 months to get my Tourette's fixed right. Because like I talked about, it almost paralyzed me. And, that's a big thing in itself too, because there's people out there that their ticks are so bad they can't even work. I mean, they got I know two. I know I've read a book about one. I want to say there's a few more that have had deep brain stimulation because of how bad their Tourette's got. That the only thing to fix it was to get in there and put some wires on their brain and all that, which that's a whole nother topic in itself. But I mean, like, I've learned all this, it's it's a more affecting syndrome, disorder, or whatever you want to call it, than what people really think. I mean, yeah, you can go on YouTube and see these things, but I feel unless you're living it, unless you're in them situations, it's not fully understood. It's not fully, how would I say it? Well, I guess you would say understood. It's not fully, you know, something that you're gonna understand seeing it on TV or YouTube or whatever you're seeing it on. But another thing I've learned about Tourette's through the years is it doesn't care where you're at or what you're doing when it comes out. And by that I mean your tics doesn't care if they come out and you're in a store. They come out and you're in a restaurant. They come out and you're in a social event full of people. Tics, they don't care when they come out. But I think, like what I've done over the years, the managing my tics, controlling my tics, keeping them minimal, it's been a big help. But at the end of the day, and I don't mean to say it like some pity thing or, whatever, poor people with Tourette's, because at the end of the day, we're just another human being like you, just something a little unnormal, so to say, something a little off. And, having that in itself can really bring out some uncomfortable situations. I mean, say it all the time, Tourette's is not a comfortable thing to have. And like, that's another thing, talking about going out in sociable events and all. For me, I'm not a big fan of sociable events where I don't know people, because like my tics are going to act up, like people are going to stare, people are going to like say things. And I haven't really had the whole people saying things to my face, at least. But like the comments or the questions of, are you okay? Why, are you sick and all that? But at the end of the day, it's just, it's a disorder that doesn't fully care. And like I said, I'm not saying this in some pity way or in some, poor me way, but it is the truth behind it. It's a disorder that doesn't care about your thoughts at the moment, your feelings at the moment. It's going to happen. It's going to occur. And I feel, learning that the only other thing you can do with that is make the most of that situation that you're in when it happens. Because I've found if I allow my Tourette's to get the best of me on a bad day, then it's won. Then my Tourette's has won the battle of making me uncomfortable or making a situation not how I want it to go. But at the same time, luckily, like I say time and time again, I'm able to manage my tics now more than ever. But I feel like one of the biggest reasons why I can manage my tics now is because of the kind of tics they are. I still think if I would have a different tic than a cough, that I would, you know, not be able to control it as good, maybe. But luckily for me, with the tics I have, I'm able to let them out in a controlling manner. So, those are just a few things I've learned over the years of having Tourette's. Is, it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable at times. Your sociable skills are probably not going to be the best in certain situations. Daily tasks can be a struggle with people with severe cases. But for me, the way I look at it, as long as I can face them, win over them, not let them make me feel some kind of way in public, then I've won the battle, and it's taken a lot of years for me to realize that, but I've won the battle of Tourette. and me, and what you gonna do? You got no other choice but to face them and try to conquer your fears with them. But also, I want to tell everybody I have written a book, and it's at the publisher now. It probably will be coming out middle to end of next month. So as it comes along, I'll keep everybody updated, and once it comes out, I'll let you know. Till next time, peace.